friends and family here with me today to share this special occasion in the lives of Michael and Gary. I want to thank everybody for being here and helping us celebrate this wonderful occasion.
I'm glad you didn't break down, because when you broke down, I broke down. I'd like to thank you all for being here. Your presence here makes it much more meaningful for us. I want to tell you, I used to watch Jackie Gleason in The Honeymooners, and there was this one episode where Jackie Gleason invented a can opener that did all kinds of things, had all kinds of gadgets, a real Rube Goldberg thing. It diced and sliced, whatever. So he was going to make millions of dollars. He was going to get up on stage in front of a national TV, and he was going to sell these can openers. And he rehearsed everything he had to say, and he got up on stage, and he could just stand there with his mouth open. He couldn't say anything. He just mumbled some words, and they had to take him off the stage babbling. And I hope that I don't stand up here babbling, but if I babble a little bit, please excuse me. I want to congratulate Michael and Gary for a job. Real well done. Excuse me. They both did a terrific job at their bar mitzvahs. And they're good kids. They always work hard at whatever they do, and we're proud of them. Gary, my grandfather used to say, that to be a success in this world, either have to have a good head or a good seat. He meant either you have to be smart or you have to work hard. Well, both my kids are smart and they work hard. Gary's especially smart. He is always at the top of his classes. Learning comes easy to him. He doesn't have to work too hard at it, but when it comes to a little extra effort that's needed, he's always there to put in that extra effort. And we're proud of him for that. We're most proud of him for the fact that not only is he a good kid and a smart kid, but he's friends with all his kids in his class. He's supportive. There's not a snobby bone in his body. He's friends with kids that are popular and kids that aren't popular. He's just an all-around kid. And Michael, learning doesn't come as easy to Michael. It didn't at one time. He had some problems. And he had to work hard to be a top student, and he is a top student. And he put in whatever effort is necessary. One thing about Michael is he'll go that extra mile and do whatever is necessary to get ahead. And we're proud of him for that fact. He had to work hard to be a top student, and he couldn't go to Hebrew school like Gary could. And a couple of years ago, Kathy and I decided that he wasn't getting any sense of himself. He wasn't learning anything about Judaism, and we'd go to temple and he wouldn't be able to follow along or didn't know what was going on, so we thought we'd get him a tutor. Our intention was that he learn a little bit about being Jewish, learn a little bit to read Hebrew, and we did get a tutor. The congregation supplied us with a tutor, a young fellow who became a lawyer and was going on to be a doctor and needed some extra money. And he taught at the Hebrew school, and he came to our house and he taught Michael. And originally when I told Michael that I wanted him to have a tutor and to learn Hebrew, I said, Michael, we want you to learn some Hebrew, okay? And he said, no way, I'm not gonna have a tutor and be burdened with this and learn Hebrew. And Kathy said, stay out of it, she told me. She says, Michael, you're gonna get a tutor and you're gonna study Hebrew and you're gonna learn it. And Michael says, do I have to? And Kathy says, yes, you have to. And Michael says, well, okay. And so that's the difference. I left a little room for doubt, so I had a war, but she doesn't leave any room for doubt. She tells him this is how it's going to be, and that's how it is. And so Michael had a tutor. The tutor came to the house, and Michael turned out, after a couple weeks, Michael liked learning Hebrew. He liked not only learning Hebrew, but learning all about Jewish history and about being a Jew and about customs and whatever. And in time, Michael got onto the Hebrew very well. And he liked the tutor, and the tutor liked Michael, and they had something in common. They both liked basketball. And before Michael would get his tutor, they'd go out in the basketball court across the street from our house, and they'd shoot baskets for a half hour, an hour, and they'd both come in a little sweaty, and they'd study Hebrew. And Michael really got onto it, and he got to the point where he knew as much as the other kids that were being bar mitzvahed. And Kathy and I said, well, why shouldn't he have a bar mitzvah too? So about a month ago, Michael had a bar mitzvah, a small congregation in Buffalo Grove, and he did a terrific job, and so we're proud of him. He's come a long way, and he did a fine job at his bar mitzvah. I'd like to have, thank you. I'd like to have, this will only take a few more minutes. I'd like to have Michael and Gary come up here. So if you guys could come up here, if you don't want to come up here, I'll have your mother tell you to come up here. So come up here. Wait, here, stand in front of me here. No, yeah, because I want to lecture to you. See, at home, you could discount me and you could write me off, you could walk away. Here, I got you as a captive audience. So I want to tell you a couple of things. That you guys have gone through Hebrew school and you've learned Hebrew and you've learned something about the customs of being Jewish and about Judaism, but do you know really what it means to be Jewish? You know, people go to school and they learn all the theory, but could they apply the theory is the question. Now, I don't expect an answer from you because this is a lecture. You don't have to answer me in a lecture. Okay, just stand here, okay? My grandmother, I gotta tell you about my grandmother. My grandmother used to go to services at the temple. She didn't just go on the high holy days. She went during the year. She was a very religious person. I remember on Sabbath, on Friday night, she'd put a shawl over her head, and she'd light the candles, and she'd say the prayers. And she kept a kosher house, and she kept all the holidays, and she was truly a religious person. My grandfather, on the other hand, sort of left a lot of that up to Grandma. He didn't go to temple as much as she did. And I said to him once, I said, Grandpa, why don't you go to temple with Grandma when she goes? He says, well, he says, if you have God in your heart, he says, you don't have to go to temple all the time. He says, if you do good things, if you're a good person, that means you have God in your heart, and that's the important thing. So for him, being Jewish was having God in your heart and being a good person and doing good things. For my grandmother, it was going to temple and following all the customs of being Jewish. And so they had different perceptions of being Jewish. So Jewish doesn't necessarily have to be one thing for everybody. It could be different things for everybody. And you in life have to determine what being Jewish means to you. Now you've come to the point where they say you're 13 years old, you're now a man. Now what does it mean when they say you're a man at 13 years old? Well, I think, this is my interpretation, what I think it means is that you can now start to make some of your own decisions in life, because that's what being a man is really about. You have to bear it with me here. Being a man really means that you have to determine what you're going to do in life and make your own decisions. That's what an adult does. Right now, your mom and your dad tell you what to do for the most part, and you have to do it, but in time, you're going to make more and more decisions as life goes on. What? I've cut it short, okay. Wait, I only got one shot at this. I'm going to take full advantage, okay? And maybe they discount it, but somehow something sinks in, I think. And in time, when they're older, they remember those little things, and maybe they make a difference. I don't know, but I think they do. Well, anyway, in time, you're going to make more and more decisions on your own. And these decisions are going to determine how your life unfolds. If you make the wrong decisions, your life is going to be somewhat diminished by that choice. If you make the right decisions, your life is going to be better by it. And so you're going to go along and you're going to struggle with these decisions, because not all the decisions are black and white. They have shades of gray. And you're going to have to struggle with a lot of decisions. And that's what life is about. It's about struggling. Yisrael, or Israel, isn't only the name of a country, it's a word, and it means to struggle through life. And as life goes on, you're going to struggle through it. And when you get to where you want to go, and when you're successful, you'll find that the struggle was the most important part of life. That getting there and being successful is sort of anticlimactic. That the struggle is the best part of life. So I welcome you to manhood. I welcome you to the struggle of life. And I have to embarrass you one more time by shaking your hand, and giving you a kiss.